Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Monday and it's the 9th of February. And this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So let's get cracking here. We had a very positive day Friday in the US market. We saw the US indices turn around, at least the Nasdaq 100 that bounced quite strongly off lows here from the 24,455 level, below the support there. Still negative sentiment, but crawled just slightly above the cloud. So that'll be key to what's here the coming week. Can it actually crawl back above the cloud and the fall trend line and up in this region here? Maybe then we can turn around the slightly bearish trend that I actually established there with a negative sentiment, and that'll be key to watch. I think it will do that, but let's see. If it takes out the lows there from the 5th, well, then we can be hit with a really heavy selling pressure. But let's see about what's going on here. Also, pre-market, the future, it's bouncing a little bit further, just below the 100 moving average here, the future. So still on an offset, I would say, but let's see here the next few days, because when we are looking at the other indices, they're a little bit more interesting. S&P 500 are stronger, really strong move there from the 100 moving average, and the support here just below 6,800 above the cloud, and I think it will push higher and could challenge the 7,000 level here quite shortly in the next few days, possibly. Maybe later this week. Here pre-market just a tad higher. We can see it's bounced back to the 786 retracement here on the future, 6,980. The Dow Jones index, on the other hand, is already pushing higher, and Friday, as we can see here, really pushed higher. New all-time high. Really strong move, 2.5% higher there Friday, driven by banks, especially by pharma and by oil companies and the industrial companies. So and also, of course, the tech sector was quite strong Friday, but here new all-time high on Dow Jones. The Russell 2000 mini closed higher here, also back above the support. Could resume uptrend, still positive sentiment, and if it moves back above 60 threshold, then I think we'll see new all-time highs there also. On the Hang Seng this morning, we have the Hang Seng that also has bounced back above 27,000. Some resistance there at 27,188, but we're already in positive sentiment, so I think we will see it pushing higher here in the coming weeks. And if it moves back above 27,500, I think we will see higher levels. It is actually indicated by the RSI indicator there. The Nikkei spiked really higher this early morning there in Japanese session, 58,620, above the 200% of this little correction here. So and then it collapsed a little bit. It already started there Friday. The future, of course, is trading not 24/7, but almost 24/6.5 or something like that. So now it's setting back a little bit, and we could see a little bit of correction. Interesting is that the RSI actually didn't manage to get above the falling trend line, and that could be a little bit of worry for future upside, but I think we will see it crawling higher here in the coming weeks. Let's see that. Maybe that's just a bit of profit taking and then pushing higher here. Weekly we will see also spiking high there, but it's still early this week. On the European markets, we have the EURStoxx50 opening. It's just open here this morning in Europe, and it is pushing higher. Seems to be resuming its uptrend. It already established a little bit higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs maybe now. And if it takes out the peak there from the 3rd of February, then we are in for a push higher towards 6,200. DAX index that has been really under pressure lately, but stayed above the 100 moving average, at least closed above. If it can close above 25,020, then I think we'll see also higher levels on the DAX index. And it is actually, that's what it's indicating. As we can see here, RSI is in a positive sentiment, and I think it did just close just below there, so now it just needs to turn around, and if it closes back above 60 threshold, indicating likely higher levels. Moving on to the FX market and euro dollar, we have the euro dollar bouncing off just above the falling trend line here and smack bang on the 61.8 retracement there at 117.64, bouncing, and I think next step here is around 119. But as we can see here from the RSI, that is the strength indicator, that already is in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence here, there's no imbalance, and if it moves back above 60 threshold, which I believe it will, then we will see it pushing higher towards 119.60 to 61.8, but also up to 120 here in the coming days and coming week or so. If it takes out the lows from Friday, well, then there's potential down to 116.78 and the 100 moving average down there. The sterling dollar also bounced from its 61.8 retracement there, just above the minor support there, bouncing a little bit. Could it hold on? Could possibly. Strong resistance there at 137.25. That could be tested. However, if it takes out that 134.95 here, 90, well, then there's a risk lower to around 134.25, possibly a dip lower. So it's a little bit on knife edge there. But also we have the RSI in a positive sentiment. If it gets back above 60 threshold, it will support the bullish mood. The euro sterling, on the other hand, really on fire now, and seems to finally broken the falling trend line there, stayed above on the 5th, dipped a little bit back on Friday, and now it's taking off again. Next move here is the 50, but I think the 61.8 retracement there at 87.68 could be reached. Key will be, will RSI close above 60 threshold or not here the next few days? There is some resistance there on the 100 moving average that could give it a little bit of a hard time, and then of course the 60 threshold here. So that'll be key to watch. Will it be knocked back down, or will it actually push up there? We're currently above the cloud, so it seems like a very strong bullish trend. And then you say, well, euro dollar, sterling dollar, and euro sterling can't move in the same direction at the same time. No, but it's a timing issue. So let's see which one will move. But at least this is what it looks like at the moment. Dollar yen reached the 786 retracement above the cloud, but back on the 786 retracement, 157.70, and that could be it. Then now we could be stepped back, because look at this. RSI didn't manage to close above 60 threshold. It got actually rejected there just below, and if it slides back now, well, then we have some support here at 155.56 and around 154.90, where there's also cloud support of 100, so we could be caught in this range here. However, if it slides back below the cloud area, well, then downtrend could be back in session. If it takes out the peak from today at 157.70 and a change, well, then I think we'll see it pushing up to the previous peaks there, just around 159.45 area. So that's an interesting development. We talked about it last week. It could do that and then set back. So maybe that's the picture that is playing out at the moment. Euro yen trading at the 786 retracement, 185.77, pushing higher, back above the 60 threshold on the RSI. If it takes out the peak there, which I believe it could, and RSI moves back above the falling trend line, well, then we are looking at 188.80 as a first potential target, but could push towards 190 in the coming weeks. Aussie yen, did not hit it. Aussie yen here touched the 161.8 projection of this correction there, just 110.80, and could push higher, despite the fact we can see we are a bit stressed here on the RSI. You can see RSI actually declining, the peaks are declining, so the strength indicator is weakening, indicating uptrend exhaustion, but it's been indicating that for quite a while. Eventually, of course, it will turn around and we will have a larger correction, but it doesn't seem to be now, and I think we will see it pushing higher here on Aussie yen. Unless a warning sign could be if it takes out the 6th of February low at 108. If it takes out that, well, then maybe we could be in for a sell-off down to around 106, 105 area. Sterling yen is in a bit of sideways range move, but with a bullish undertone. You can see higher highs, higher lows, higher highs and higher lows and higher highs slightly here. It needs to take out the 215 to really re-establish the bullish trend. We can see the RSI really declining there, above the threshold, then back below. Still in a positive sentiment, but it needs to really establish itself above it and to support that level, and we need 215 to be taken out. If it takes out the lows there from Friday at 211.5, well, then we could see the key support area here around 210, 209.80 really being challenged once again. But 55 moving average up there is supporting the picture, the bullish picture. Aussie dollar, after trying it, dipping below the 38.2 retracement a couple of times, it could seem like it actually has gotten its mojo back together, and it's not a big surprise because we have the RSI indicating high levels. We see it bouncing off the 60 threshold. I think we will see higher Aussie dollar levels here in the coming weeks towards 72, 72 and a half. I have indicated these peaks there, or these target areas that it could reach to, unless it takes out the lows from last week, Friday there at 68.95. If it takes out that, well, then we could be in for a rough ride down to 68. Dollar Canada setting back after being rejected here around the 50 threshold. I actually expected to get a little bit higher up to the 61, but it didn't, at least not now. It needs to take out Friday peak there at 137 and a quarter to do that, but it's not really in the cards. I think we could see it sliding lower here towards the 136 and possibly lower here in the coming weeks. And one of the reasons for that is also we have a negative sentiment. There's no divergence, and if RSI is moving back below 40 threshold, it will further confirm the bearish picture. And as we can see, all moving average declining. 55 broke below 200, and they're both declining. So a bit of a death cross there, really. Euro Swiss caught still range bound here between 92.20 and 91 and 20 down here. It needs to break out of this range for direction. If it breaks out to the upper side, well, then there's potential up to around 92.60, possibly up to 93, but then we have the moving average coming down, giving a hard time to further upside potential. If it takes out 92.20, well, then expect a move down to around 90. Dollar Swiss knocked down from the 50% threshold. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen from time to time, because we also had the same time here the key resistance that previous was support. Now it's a key resistance at 78 and a quarter in this range there, and now it seems we are setting back, and I could see we are setting back further, and negative sentiment, no divergence, indicating actually likely lower levels on dollar Swiss in the coming weeks. So I think we will see it sliding lower here towards 76 and a half, but actually it is indicating also lower new lower levels down here, but that will take a little bit of time probably. Dollar index also being knocked down from the 61.8 retracement there at 97.80. Didn't get all the way up to 98. It could have spiked up to it, but didn't. And now we're setting back, and I think we will see it setting back to at least the 38.2 retracement there at 96, 97, 91. A very short term, but also here it's a bit similar to the dollar Swiss. It's actually in a negative sentiment. There's no divergence, indicating likely lower levels down here. And I think we will see that on the medium term in a few weeks. It won't be a straight line. I think there will be some stops and corrections on the way, possibly around 96.30 to 61.8 retracement, but the first one here at 38.2 retracement, 96.91. So there will be some stops and corrections on the way, but unless it takes out the peak there from the 5th of February, when then it can shoot up to around 98.5 area. I don't think it will do that. I think we are sliding lower here in the coming weeks. Again, this is not this is just what I think. It's not a recommendation or advice whatsoever. Gold spots bounced from the 61.8 retracement of this, also bounced there, and now it's bouncing again and could crawl higher, and it's on its way to the 61.8 retracement of the entire sell-off there, and I think it will push back there. We still have positive sentiment. There's actually no divergence. This peak there is higher than all the other peaks, so it's actually indicating we will see, or we could see, higher gold levels on the medium term. And I put a question mark up there just to illustrate that, and I think we could see it higher. And I still have here on my little notebook much higher levels above 6,000 in the medium to a little bit longer term. But let's see about that. If it can crawl back above 61.8 retracement, there could be further upside, because then we'll probably also have the 60 threshold on the RSI being broken, and that could further indicate higher levels. If it takes out the lows from Friday, well, then we could be caught down here in this range, this consolidation area here once again. But 55 moving average, 100, 200 coming up there, supporting the bullish view. Silver also bouncing after its spectacular sell-off, second sell-off there late last week. Dipped to the lower part of the cloud, and then a very strong bounce, as we can see here, getting back above the 61.8 retracement, and also above the back above the consolidation area. So that would be key to watch here the next few days. Can it actually push higher? If it takes out the peak there from the when was that, 4th of February at 92.20, then I think we'll also see it pushing higher back above 100 again. So that would be key to watch. The 55 moving average coming up there. We are still above the cloud, so keep an eye on that. It could be, and still be careful. Volatility is still there. There's still quite big spreads. The platinum also bounced from the 100 moving average and back above the cloud, never closed below, so that is also quite interesting. And we are back above the cloud here. And if it takes out 2,335, then we are back in a bullish trend, and I think we will see that playing out, and it could play out here in the coming week or so, possibly. If it takes out the lows from Friday, well, then there's a completely different picture playing out. Copper is lacking a little bit. Yes, it bounced a little bit Friday there, but it's lacking, but it needs to, and let me just draw that trend line there. It needs to take out 611.50, so 612. If it takes out that and can stay above and closing above, then I think we'll also see higher levels on copper. Still declining RSI, but if RSI moves back above 60 threshold, and especially above the falling trend line, then I think we'll see higher levels here on the medium to longer term. Moving on to the oil markets, still in this bullish trend here, but a lot of volatility. There are a lot of certainty in the market. You see massive moves also in today, but we're still in a bullish trend, still positive sentiment, and I still believe we'll see higher oil levels in the coming weeks. But it is not that convincing, is it? It's here on the weekly, same picture. We can see all the moving average pushing lower. The RSI 60 threshold rejected, actually closed above it there, but still it is marginally. So I would be a little bit cautious with that picture at the moment. So be careful on the oil. But bullish undertone, bullish trends, but just a lot of volatility and nervousness. It needs to get back below $58 there on the WTI, then it has re-established bearish trend. Brent crude oil, a lot of volatility, A strong bounce there off the 786 retracement of the uptrend there. Then it got up to the 61.8 retracement and then setting back again. So a little bit of range bound, but also here positive sentiment indicating likely higher levels on Brent crude oil. We can also see the moving averages have turned around. They are all rising now, just slightly, especially 55 moving average. So I think we'll see a push higher here in the coming weeks. European nat gas, extremely volatility, still cold in most of Europe. A little bit colder than most expected and normally. Sitting back here this early morning though, so we're still above the 100 and the 55 moving average, so still slightly positive. Also positive sentiment. If it moves back above 60 threshold, then I think we will see high levels if it takes out the peak there on Friday. The US nat gas sliding lower. Maybe the cold weather in the US is on retreat, and if we're looking at the March future, we can see also dropping lower here. And I think we will see it reaching $3 here fairly shortly, possibly within the next few days. It could play out, but if it moves back above 375, then bullish trend back in session. US 10-year Treasury yields. Well, it actually pushed below the 420 support, 421, 420, and then it dipped down to this rising trend line I had drawn here. It actually moved from this to this to this, so that's actually, and it's actually just above the 55 moving average. So the bullish trend is still in session, just in jeopardy a little bit at the moment. Pausing there, still positive sentiment. There's no divergence. Still, I think we'll see higher treasury yield levels or interest rate levels on the medium term. But for now, a bit of range bound here. It needs to take out 431. I hope it doesn't play out because we don't like higher interest rate. I think we could be range bound here between 420, 430 for quite some time. But look out for these levels there. And we have the moving averages pushing higher, positive sentiment, and we also have the cloud working higher. So I think the underlying tone is there, the underlying bullish scenario and trend and sentiment is there. The EU 10-year has bounced a little bit after pushing above the back above the rising trend line here this morning and could push higher. Still, it's 292 that is up there. I don't hope that will play out. I hope we could see it sliding lower. Key support there at 277. UK 10, well, after closing above there, it's now back below both Friday and also this morning here. So still key resistance in this area there for bullish trend. So good for the for UK there. Japanese 10 on the other hand bounced strongly after setting back 61.8 retracement. Bounced strongly this morning and could push higher here in the coming weeks towards the previous peak. Still positive sentiment indicating likely a bullish move here on the Japanese 10-year. Bouncing time also on the cryptos. We have the Bitcoin bouncing, and I think we could see it at least up to 74,500, maybe even up to around 80,000 there. And then we could see it setting back again because we are actually in a bearish trend, negative sentiment, and it is indicating likely lower levels. Same picture on Ethereum. Actually, we can add a Fibonacci to this also to indicate where we have some levels, and around the 2377 level here, 38.2 retracement seems to be a likely bounce to that level, but we are under pressure on cryptos. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again later.